How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store has kicked off its Essential Pick Sale. A lot of great deals available as a part of it, and we've got a bunch of deals under the price of $5 to go over in this video. This video is brought to you by Hotel Renovator and Focus Entertainment. Hotel Renovator is out right now on consoles, and you can buy the game right now with the link in the description box down below. Hotel Renovator is a high-quality sim game where the player's goal is to restore an inherited rundown hotel back to its former glory. Now, the gameplay structure is simple yet rewarding at the same time. You demolish and clean the rooms, renovate them, place furniture and amenities, and earn money for your hard work. Grab your tools to tear down that old wallpaper, rip up the panel flooring, and clean the debris. Design your heart out with more than 2,000 item variations to choose from. Invest and manage your hotel to receive a 5-star rating, and along the way, you'll meet colorful VIP guests in the game's story mode as well. You inherit an old neglected hotel in terrible condition. Others have given up hope, but you sense the extraordinary potential erupting out of this place. Before you unveil this hotel's beauty, you need to get your hands dirty. Grab your tools to tear down that old wallpaper, rip up the panel flooring, and bust through walls to get out with the old and in with the new. Live out your hotel renovating dreams with Hotel Renovator, again, available right now on consoles. Link in the description box below. Check it out for yourself. And thank you to Hotel Renovator and Focus Entertainment for sponsoring the video. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it, and let's start things off with .hack.gu Last Recode, 90% off for $4.99. I think this is a fantastic deal for a great collection of JRPGs. .hack.gu initially came out on the PlayStation 2, and it was a segmented release, so, they got their mileage out of it, where they released each individual game for like $40 to $50 a pop, and then when they all told, like, an entire story, and it's one thing with, like, the Final Fantasy VII trilogy, where they're releasing it, like, 4 years apart. I think with .hack.gu, they were released, like, 6 to 7 months apart from one another, so it's got a while back in the day, dropping, like, $100, over $100, well over $100 on all 3 games, but now, you get all 3 games, you get the 4th smaller episode for $4.99, that's kind of insane, and you know what, maybe in 20 years, you'll be able to pick up the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy for, like, $4.99, and it also will include a smaller 4th episode like it does with .hack.gu Last Recode. Maybe that'll happen in 15 to 20 years, who knows? But this is a great collection, and the games themselves are great. Has a deep cast of characters. Some of them feel a little bit tertiary when you have a larger cast like this. That's bound to happen, but the main character and Haseo and some of the other key intro characters are really well done, and for $4.99, you're getting a lot of mileage out of your dollar, even if Volume 1 is relatively short, like given you're getting 3 games, and you can spend 20 to 25 hours on each of them, you're getting a lot of content for your dollar for sure, to say the least, and the latter games are a little bit lengthier as well. The 4th episode is super short, but nonetheless, $4.99, definitely a good pickup there. Next up, we have Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, 70% off for $4.49. Now, this did recently get added to PlayStation Plus Extra, so you can play it that way, but if you're excited for Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, Eiyuden Chronicle Rising isn't a mandatory playthrough, but it is a nice action RPG that acts more as a setup game to that. Again, you don't have to play it, and it's a little bit on the shorter side comparatively to what I'm sure 100 Heroes is going to be. Like, that's going to be a lengthy JRPG, I would imagine, but Rising does offer quite a bit to like it. I would definitely say check it out if you are excited for 100 Heroes. Bit of a throwback art style as well, but $4.49, not a bad price on that. Next up, we have Greak, Memories of Azur, 75% off for $4.99. You know, if this game was down to like $2.99, I would say slam dunk, home run, pick it up. There's a lot to like about the game. The art style, I think, is great. The more simplistic style of it, I think, works. Some of the gameplay is a little bit mundane, but I think overall it works well. For $4.99, not a bad pickup, not a super lengthy game here either. For the art direction and some of the story beats, I think it's worthwhile to go through. Again, gameplay isn't anything to write home about, but for $4.99, again, pretty good pickup there. Next up, we have The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, 80% off for $3.99. This is a game that I talk up quite often. At this point, it's like a decade old, which is wild to think about, but visually it still holds up pretty nicely, and it is more of an immersive walking sim atmospheric style game, so keep that in mind. It is narrative driven, so if you're looking for an engrossing story, I feel like Vanishing of Ethan Carter will give you that. And from an atmosphere standpoint, it does do it quite well. For $3.99, not a bad pickup. Would definitely give that a look as well. Next up, we got The Walking Dead, the complete first season, 75% off for $3.74. At this point, I feel like the majority of you guys have played this, but if we do have a younger crowd watching this video, you know, Walking Dead first season came out back in like 2012, so it is a little bit older at this point, and a lot of you guys, this may have just not been your cup of tea, your style of game growing up, but for $3.74, if you're into narrative-driven games, this is absolutely one to check out. Has an emotional roller coaster of a story, and back in the day with the Telltale games, it was kind of annoying getting the episodic release structure, but now you just get the complete first season, and man, what a great main character in this game. And I remember being like 15, 16 years old playing this game. A little bit of a tearjerker by the end. But yeah, quite a good game, and obviously after this, you'll probably want to play the second season. I didn't think the subsequent seasons were as strong as the first season. I did think the second season was quite good. Season 3 and Season 4 was but overall still very much worthwhile to play the first season. $3.74 I think is a great pickup. Next up, another JRPG here. I'll give a shout to Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. Now, Sword Art Online as an IP, I am not a big fan of. You know, it's not my cup of tea to say the least, but back when this game came out, I was really playing like pretty much every JRPG that was coming out, and I still kind of try to play every JRPG that comes out, but you know, these Sword Art games, you know, every now and again I will skip them, but Fatal Bullet was one that I did end up really enjoying. Now, this adopts the Gun Gale Online portion of Sword Art, which I believe was the second season of the anime, and it does it fairly well. It's very much a lower budget JRPG, but the gameplay loop I found enjoyable. Not something that I would spend $50, $60 on, but for $4.79, I actually think it's a pretty good buy. And, you know, with the quality level of JRPGs these days, is it going to be the best JRPG you're gonna play? Far from it, but if for whatever reason you are a Sword Art fan, or if you just want a game with a pretty good gameplay loop, I thought Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet was pretty enjoyable, and out of the Sword Art games I've played, was the one that I dug the most, so take that for what you will. Next up, we have Unravel, 80% off for $3.99. Unravel is a pretty well done platforming puzzle title. It's got a great visual style, and you can tell that the developer of this game like poured a lot of emotion into it. Is Unravel the most refined and well-polished experience? No, it's got some quirky gameplay design that isn't the best. However, you can just tell a lot of emotion was poured into the development of Unravel, and you can even go back to when this game was initially revealed at, I believe it was the EA E3 press conference of 2013 or 2014, somewhere around then. And man, that was one of the more emotional reveals that you're gonna see out of a video game. But yeah, $3.99 for Unravel. Think it's quite a good deal. Definitely would check it out at this price point. $20, bit much, but $3.99 definitely a decent pickup. Couple of Need for Speed games. These games are seemingly always going super cheap, and they're always a good pickup. Need for Speed Heat, the Deluxe Edition, is 95% off for $3.49. This is one of the more recent Need for Speed titles that actually turned out to be really good. I feel like Need for Speed at this point has kind of just been put into this hole that it's gonna be very difficult to dig out of because the games are so inconsistent. Even if you get a good game like Need for Speed Heat, Need for Speed just has a label of it's one of those IPs that EA constantly pumps out games for, and it's super inconsistent that when you get a Need for Speed Heat, even if it's a fairly good arcade racer, doesn't get a lot of love. But Heat turned out to be a really solid game. Okay, not $60 good, they never are, but for $3.49, if you're looking for a quality arcade racer with a great setting, great visuals, solid soundtrack that goes with the theme of the game, $3.49 is definitely a good pickup, and I would give that a shot. And then obviously Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, $3.99 on that. Easiest recommendation. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit was great in 2010. This remastered release really doesn't do anything to make it much better, but Hot Pursuit is fantastic. $3.99 for it is obviously going to be a good pickup that's easy to recommend. We got Batman Arkham Knight, 80% off for $3.99. Let's appreciate Rocksteady at their absolute pinnacle, because I don't know if they're going to return to this kind of form, and I get it, Rocksteady as a studio is far different than what they were during the peak of the Batman Arkham trilogy, but man, after playing Suicide Squad, and I didn't even hate Suicide Squad as much as a lot of other people, but Batman Arkham was Rocksteady being Rocksteady. This was Rocksteady at their absolute height, and Arkham Knight was seen by many as the weakest of the 3 Arkham games, and even then, when you look at which Arkham game is the weakest, like, bro, they're all fantastic, so it doesn't really matter. $3.99 is great for this. Definitely give that a playthrough if you have yet to. Next up, we got Rayman Legends. 80% off for $3.99. Fantastic platformer. It's an IP that Ubisoft needs to do a lot more with. I feel like it's one of those IPs that does not get the love that it absolutely deserves, but great visual style, great platforming, and an accessible game while also offering a fair bit of challenge for those of you that are super into platformers. $4 is a bargain for that. Next up, we got Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition, 75% off for $4.99. Great deal on an excellent open-world action title, satisfying gameplay, sizable amount of content, and you've got a great story to boot as well. Now, comparatively, again, this is a decade old at this point. Shadow of Mordor absolutely doesn't hold up to some of the bigger open worlds that you see today, but sometimes it's nicer to have a more contained open world, and I think that's something we need more of in gaming. With a lot of these open world games, they're just getting way too crazy with their open worlds, and it's like, scale these games back a little bit, and I think ultimately it'll be beneficial to the games. That's just my 2 cents. Lastly, do want to give a shout to Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, 75% off for $4.99. Now, with Yakuza as a franchise, if you're getting into it, I feel like a lot of people play through Yakuza 0, play through Kiwami 1 and Kiwami 2, and then Yakuza 3, 4, and 5. Those are the 3 games that really do, become a little bit of a struggle. Those games are older PlayStation 3 games, and I think that might be a part of the reason for that. Zero is a PS3 game as well, but it's a later life PS3 game, and, you kind of have to play Zero since it's the introduction of Kiryu, and it's a good place to start. I get it, Yakuza 1 came out first, but you get the idea. 3, 4, and 5 is a little bit of a struggle. They're still good games, but a struggle to go through. Yakuza 6 is a really, really good game and wraps up, it was supposed to wrap up Kiryu's story. It didn't really wrap up Kiryu's story. Infinite Wealth just came out. But Yakuza 6 is still a worthwhile game to go through, and this was a PS4 title, mid-PS4 life. Like, it came out in Japan in 2016. So still holds up fairly well and a worthwhile game to go through. If you want to look up recaps of Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 and jump right into 6, that's an option. But $4.99 for Yakuza 6, I think, is a really good pickup. So definitely would give that a look for my weekly RGG shilling. So there you go with that. But that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great PlayStation Store game deals under the price of $5. Links to all of these will be in the description box below. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.